Morning, everybody. It's, as you can see, been a rainy night, and it's going to be a rainy day. So, don't know what much I'm going to do, but you can see all the carrots have started to pop up here. Wanted to show you that real quick. And the sweet peas, sugar snap peas. Man, I cannot stop just calling them sweet peas. The hot peppers and our bell peppers are popping up in this box. And over there, we've got a lot of really neat little sugar snap peas. See how much I have to concentrate to say sugar snap instead of sweet pea? That's just, there's something wrong there. Okay, but what I did come out to do is actually grab some radishes here. Now, I do not like radishes. I think they're nasty. I started eating the radish greens the other day, or a couple weeks ago, because I'm trying to get more self-sufficient, and radish is such a fast-growing crop. I mean, 22 days or so, and you'll end up with full-size radishes. So, I planned to just really intensely, way too intensely, because I intended to eat all the tops right off, just come by and clip them like you do a microgreen. But instead, I ended up trying an experiment where I ate one leaf off of each side of the microgreen, and that way the plant could still grow up and I could get all my microgreens. And it seemed to work perfectly until now, when they're starting to choke each other out and some of them aren't growing as big as they should, not at all. So I'm in here trying to thin some of these out. Now, last night was my first time of doing this. I pulled out, I'd say 5 or 6 of these as part of an experiment, and I wish I would have filmed it on trying to eat these. And I had never seen anybody cook them before, but somebody had told me if you cook them, they become sweet. So I wasn't too sure. So I pulled out 5 or 6 of these and I sliced them pretty thin. And they were about the size of this one here, the biggest ones. And I sliced them pretty thin and I put them into a pan with a little oil. Frying pan, that is. And then from there, I sliced in a little bit of our, you see over there, that beautiful leek plant there. Well, I sliced that leek plant, or actually just one of their flower bulbs, into it, and man, that was the nicest taste I'd ever had before in my life. It tasted like I was eating a really good hash browns and onion. That's what it tasted like, hash browns and onion. And it was leek flower and radishes. So if you, that's just amazing. So what I'm going to do is I'm trying to get a little bit of this radish out now, because I'm going to go in there with my wife. Wanted a little breakfast, so I'm going to go get one of our farm fresh eggs, a little piece of ham, and some of this radishes, and I'm going to fry it up together and make a little mash this morning that actually has no potato in it. Kind of be an interesting little experiment. Maybe if you're growing radishes at home, you can try this as well. Okay, so this is May 21st, and hopefully, as it's raining here today, I'm going to film more. Part of you should be able to watch I believe it was on the 19th or the 20th, that a friend of mine from San Francisco came up here and gave me a couple little tips on making a documentary. Well, this is kind of just a warm-up documentary. The real documentary will start on the 16th. And I'll be trying to make it look as professional as I can with 2 cameras and tripods, and you know, actually I'm working with some local farmers here to try to get 2 volunteers to come out and be cameramen on a full-time basis, so that I'll probably record, you know, 9-10 hours worth of footage a day and cut it down into 5 or 10 minute video for you. So what I'm going to do today, though, is I'm going to go into my glass studio in a little while, and I'm going to make some jars and some pendants and some necklace pieces and things like that, and hopefully I'll be able to get somebody to film that for you. I don't own a tripod right now. I owned 3 tripods, but they all broke. So, trying to get 2 new tripods. I have already acquired a second camera, so thank you. Here's the sugar snaps down here, right down here. That little lip of grass there is annoying. We're going to get rid of that here in the next couple days. And then you got more sugar snap peas down here. these poles won't remain here. And then we didn't plant the sugar snaps in this area yet. We're going to very shortly. And we're also going to be, as you've seen in the previous video where we gathered up a bunch of nasturtiums for other people's property, I'm going to be planting the rest of the nasturtiums from lot 6, right where you see all that mound of dirt at, all the way around those buckets. Okay, well that's not really enough radishes to do what I want to do for 2 people, is it? This is the problem with them all growing this tightly together, is that they're not getting as big as they should. There's another good one. So I keep like thinning out from the outer edge, hoping that that's tiny and no, but I'll use it anyway since I pulled it up. That's a decent sized one. In a couple days these would have been much bigger, but I'll have to remember in the future not to plant them so closely together, even if I do want the whole microgreen concept. Okay, well there's a little bundle of radish that I'm going to fry up. And that's another thing. This documentary, you know, I really want this to be for you guys out there, for the people who are following my channel. These are all radishes in here as well, a little thinly or placed. I really want this documentary to be for you guys, and about my farm, of course, and as an experiment for myself in self-reliance. But what would you want to see? Right now I'm thinking along the lines of a lot of it's going to be recipes. It's going to be me, what I'm eating for breakfast, what I'm eating for dinner, what I'm snacking on for lunch, how many calories and how many vitamins is in each one of these things, and does it meet the daily allotment that the doctors say is supposed to be for a healthy person. But is there other stuff that you would like to see in that documentary? I mean, would you like to see me harvesting the rabbits and how I do that? Would you like to see how we make our compost teas so that we pour them on the garden? You know, that came to me because we use comfrey, which, if you don't know, is a very good compost material. It's got a very deep tap root that pulls up from the bottom. So would you like, you know, there's things I can't think of. That's the main thing. Give me some suggestions of what you would like to see in that 30 days of me living off my land, that I'm going to be documenting everything. I mean, do you want to hear, am I hungry, am I starving, am I full? Is that something that's really important to you, or is it more about the nutritional value that I'm getting, or is it where am I getting the sources? Would you rather see me out doing more wild foraging and not so much off the garden but off the land around Humboldt County and around my area? Which I'm going to have to do a lot of, because by my garden itself I probably wouldn't be able to do it all. I'm going to have to do at least some wild foraging and what I call urban foraging, which means within the city limits finding food available. So yeah, answer those questions at the bottom of this video or send me a message. But I'm a comment fan. I really love comments. If you put a comment down below, even if it's just you think my videos stink, I will certainly respond back to them in some way positively. So give me your feedback. Let me know what you think, what you want to see in these upcoming videos. Remember, grow as much food as you possibly can and join forces with your neighbors. Hello everybody, this is Carl at Manabu Farms, and we're in the glass studio today. It's the 21st of May. Probably already said that in this video if I've linked these things together correctly. And it's a rainy, piss poor day here, so we're doing some glass blowing, or actually what's called lamp working. There's quite a difference between glass blowing and lamp working. But this art that I do here, I'm going to be trading some of the pieces to different farmers around here, because I realized as I was trying to figure out, well, I need milk and I need cheese and I need things like that to survive this month, or at least I want them to be able to really enjoy myself. And so I need a dairy farmer to trade with. Well, anybody who's got a cow or a goat is going to be growing everything else I'm already growing on their farm for themselves as it is. So I have nothing really to offer them except for maybe rabbit meat, which I need most of my rabbit meat. So I figured I could make some jars. I make starter pots, incense burners. I make glass pins. I make a lot of other art besides just the classic pipes that we use here in Humboldt County that are just make my bread and butter and my money. So I'm going to use this as both not only part of my 30 days of preparation video, but also as a part of a glass blowing lesson, because I have a lot of people on my channel who also enjoy my glass blowing art. So what I'm going to do is, most people make love inside out. It's a style of glass blowing where the colors are trapped inside the glass and they stick out and they look very beautiful. That's a very hard art form to do. It's quite complicated. It cracks very easily. And so what I'm going to do is show you how to make a necklace piece that is inside out. And it should be quite easy. It's a good place to start learning how to do inside out. So, I'm come over here to the torch and flame on. Thank you, creators. I will remember that as I create, it is you who are creating through me. Therefore, I can make no mistakes. Om Stoic, so mote it be. Amen. It's always a good idea when you first turn on your torch to turn back and check out your regulators. Make sure everything's flowing in the proper space and you're not going to run out anytime soon. Okay, so I'm going to make a little ball here. I'm going to ball this little piece of glass up about that much. And the way I'm going to do that is by using gravity. I'm going to heat it up, get it really nice and hot. And notice how the rod here is at this downward angle, so that the glass moltenly rolls back on itself. You know, what's an interesting fact about glass is that glass is the slowest moving liquid. It's actually not a solid at all, even in a hard form like this. It's actually a liquid, just moving very slowly. Okay, you can see how I quickly turned that into a ball. Okay, now I've got on this table down here, you can look at this, I've got some different colored powdered glass called Rainbow Frit. It's ground up, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat this ball back up and I'm going to press it into that frit. Now this time I'm basically just hitting up the top half of the ball. Not the whole ball, but just the first half. I'm going to get that nice and white hot, and then I'm going to press that right there. See how it kind of comes out like a little disc? And you can look at the color trapped on the top there that I picked up. Okay, now as I said, I'm going to turn this into an inside-out pendant. So we're going to fold this glass back down by using gravity again and having an upward angle and then heating up the tip of this lip. Now, as I was saying, glass is the slowest moving liquid. You can tell this when you go and go to a junkyard and look at old cars. At the bottom of their window, it'll be fatter than the top of the window. That's because it's been over years slowly dripping down. The hotter it gets, the faster it drips. You can see you can start to see where that color is in the center there. Okay, so there's a little bit left there on the tip. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a different piece of clear and I'm going to melt this over that to make it more inside out on all sides. There's easier ways to do this. This is just a quick, simple solution. Extra thick layer on there, that way it looks the same as it does on the other side.
Now using gravity again, just melt that all in so it's one solid piece. Good. You can see, hopefully you can see that trapped in there. Now there's two ways to make your eye hook. That's the piece where the string will go through. One is a loop method, which is quite fast and simple. And if you want to do just something really easy and that you're just giving away as a gift, I suggest doing the loop method. But it's not as strong and it's not as good of a method, really. The other method is to get yourself what's called a tungsten pick, and that's because it's made out of tungsten steel, which will not stick to hot glass as long as it itself is not hot. Then you take a thin piece of glass and you do what's called a cold seal. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to heat up just this thin piece of glass, not this piece, and I'm going to stick it to the other end. Boom, and it sticks right there. But it's only barely sticking there. That way I can pull it off later. Then I'm going to come to this other side, past the marble, and I'm going to heat up another little ball. Then I'm going to cut off this big rod. And I do that by bringing my torch down really close to the blue flame, the tight blue flame, and heating up and slightly, just ever so slightly pulling away. And boom, it burned it off, and now I've got another little knob there. Okay, so I'm going to clean my table, my little plate down here. This is a graphite plate. Graphite, same stuff that's inside your pencils. And we're going to heat up this into a ball. I'm actually going to pull this plate a little closer to the edge of my table so it's easier to work with. Then you take your tungsten pick and you press it in there and you twirl a little bit. Okay, it's not going to come through on your first time. But you can see there's a little indent there. Now I'm going to flip it over, heat up the back side that I didn't press on. And then aim at that exact same hole and press back down again. And what I'm doing is I'm kind of weakening the glass there and stretching it so I can puncture through. And I've almost got it through this time. You can see there, hopefully. So one more time. And this should be completely clear. Yep, okay, I punctured through, so I'm going to slightly heat it up, then use the pick on the other side so that you don't seal up your hole. There we go, now I got a nice hole, and I can widen it out so that it's easier to put the string in. Okay, there's a nice hole with a nice twisted little pattern in it. And what we're going to do is we're going to grab a pair of pliers here, preferably needle nose pliers, but I don't know where mine are, so I'm going to use these little wire clipper ones. And kind of grab a hold of that. Then I'm going to heat it right where I did that, what was called a cold seal. And I'm heating that up, and I flash it through once, twice, and block it off. Now, it didn't break as perfectly as I wanted, so what I'll do is I'll just melt it back in because it's all clear anyways. Actually, I prefer to break it off, but the break-off tool is in my hand. So, whoops. And now I just dropped it. So there we go. That gives me the chance to pinch that off. Yeah. Boy, this would be much easier if I had my needle nose pliers that I could just grab this easily with. Well, let's just try to see if we can melt that just a little bit. Okay. Now once this cools off here, we'll once this cools completely down, we'll take it outside and give you a couple shots of it and a little camera footage of it in the light. Alright. Thank you very much for joining us here, and we're going to do a jar and a few other things, and maybe you'll get time to see those, and maybe I won't, I don't know. Depends on how much longer the battery lasts on the camera. So, thank you very much.
Okay, just real quick, just showing you the pendant here. This is, you can see the good eye hook there. That's, should have chose a black background instead of my floor here. It looks like it's cracked right there, but that's actually just where I sealed the two colors together. Can't really make it out well in this video, can you? At least I can't. Hopefully it'll be better on the upload that's color sealed inside there. Alright, that was just something quickly that I did today, along with 2 pipes in a jar, but didn't have time or cameramen to film it all for you. So, thank you very much.